From the center of the galaxy and hotel rooms, this is ForceCenter, show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw, coming to you from a Holiday Inn Express somewhere in the state of New York. Near Catskill, because that is where our film Dead Media is playing tonight, and we're like 20 minutes out and beautiful winding roads from a theater, but it's lovely.
I've never been upstate, only to the big city. You're telling Borscht Belt Catskill jokes everywhere and doing the thing.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. I have a lot of East Coast ignorance, and I did not know until this got booked that we had a screening here that there was a specific town called Catskill. So I've been the entire time I'm promoting it is like, don't say Catskills, don't say Catskills, Don't say plural. Respect for the town. It's Catskill. It's great town.
Amazing. So you, of course, are on the Dead Media bonus features tour. We'll dive into some life adventures. Check out our sponsorship on Fourth Wall. Check out our merch store. Let's get right to it today. We're not even live. Support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/ForceCenter. How's it going out there? What's the update? Where can they find you next?
Yeah. So as we're broadcasting, we've got this screening tonight in Catskill, New York, at a beautiful theater called the Community Theater. And then we are going to Philadelphia tomorrow to screen at a place called Philomoka. And that is an old mausoleum that's been turned into a theater. So I'm looking forward to that very much. And then on Thursday, we're in Winchester, Virginia at an Alamo Drafthouse. So our first screening at an Alamo Drafthouse.
Oh, that's huge. That's big.
Yeah, really fun. Yeah. So the theater tonight is attached to the theater is a video store, comic book store, toy store. And I'm staring at them. I already bought 2 action figures.
Uh-oh.
And they got some Bendums. I don't think I'm going to buy the Star Wars Bendums. That's a bridge I've never crossed personally. We have a tortured Bendum history that we've discussed many times. But there's a lot of, I didn't have a chance to look at it super well. So there's some more Star Wars hiding in there. So it's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
I feel that. Yeah. And for those that don't know our Bendum history, just imagine Star Wars figures returning, and then you look at that's what's back is some Bendum figures.
Yeah, I want to think it was like a year or so out from Power of the Force 2, the big comeback, and it was sort of like Star Wars had been gone from most things, including the toy aisle, and it was the original Alpha's back in Pog form. It's like Star Wars is back. It looks like. These weird, you can twist their limbs, and I saw the Chewbacca one recently, and that Chewie ain't right. He looks like he is just high on some sort of dental gas. He is not looking good. That Bendum Wookiee Chewie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my Vader is the same way. So good stuff. So it's go good out there. You guys out there watching, keep up with Joseph's travels, which are you're a rock star on a tour here. You're showing the movie and then heading to the next town.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun. And it's so great to see the different places. Yeah, we went to Smod Castle in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, which is the theater owned by Kevin Smith, and I thought about ForceCenter a lot. I knew there was some really cool Star Wars thing. A lot of the artwork there is Kevin Smith posters, but they have an original one sheet of the Revenge of the Jedi poster before Lucas pulled them all. And it was the right place to do it. So we set up our Dead Media banner that people can take photos with right next to the Revenge of the Jedi poster. And that was pretty damn cool.
That's cool. Always fun to see that. Mm-hmm. Good stuff indeed. I guess that's a big life adventure, but anything else? Anything else you experienced?
No, it sounds melodramatic, but it's like, I don't have a human life right now. Right. I exist to make this film successful at the moment, and then this is my life adventure, taking some time to actually do ForceCenter in a hotel room.
Yeah, no, we're blessed to have you here, and it's Holiday Inn Express. It's got a decent breakfast. The eggs aren't completely bad.
Oh yeah, no, they have a massive sign about their pancake machine with a pun, like "Go ahead, pancake my day." But then the pancake machine was broken. This is the bullshit I'm dealing with.
For me, my earpiece keeps coming out. That's not been fun. I can't hear anything. There we go. I thought my ears were big enough to keep it in, but I guess not. Yeah, life. I did have a Star Wars.
Ooh,
Couple life adventures. At first, I caught up. It was at a home viewing, but I finally saw Supergirl
ooh, good.
and really enjoyed it. I love the Superman film from James Gunn, and this is, I think, a good continuation of what they're trying to build. And I'm not going to get into the movie review side of it, but I just really liked not only the themes, but what they were dealing with, what they were talking about in it. And I'm all in on what he and his team are doing there right now, which is weird to say because I don't have I don't have the stake in the MCU DCEU game and never really have. So late to the party. I still have to see the Odyssey. It's on my, and you know me, it's hard to, I don't see a lot of movies. So when I even think about seeing it, it almost counts as seeing it. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, it actually has been torturous because I really love the Tom Holland Spider-Man, and I'm so excited for Brand New Day. No spoilers from anybody. I don't think I even watched the trailer, but it does seem very set up as the Spider-Man comic book I grew up with on film. So it's like tonight. It's playing opposite my film, so it's torturous. But I'm going to go see Spider-Man, and maybe I'll watch Odyssey eventually. But why in your famously reticent to go into the theater? Why is the Odyssey something that Ken Napzok has to see in the big screen?
I think it is enough people have reached out, or even through comments, even like our listener David Mackay, my old friend Thomas. Also, Andrew Seiner, one of our longtime ForceCenter listeners, wrote me and was like, "This is a Star Wars film, and I think you should see it." I was one of those, English advanced English class kids that had to read the poem and all that stuff. I don't remember it. I know the basics, but no, I don't really. So I just want to see it. But I know it's Nolan's version, and I know I'm on the record of being sometimes not just. Nolan just irks me a little bit just because who he is sometimes, and that's just me. But I think he's talented, and I've loved some of his films in the past. So, just it all added up. Taffeta, my special lady friend there, saying, I kind of want to see it too. So when those things all add up, it comes on the screen. And she's the one that said, let's watch Supergirl. So good positive effects. I'm seeing media.
This is fantastic. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about For All Mankind.
Yes, all 5 seasons of that are done. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So good.
I'm here.
All right, we got some other Center episodes coming up then when the tour is over.
I think we could probably get Alex Amali to jump on a For All Mankind hoopla. For all smorgasbord.
Yeah.
But I did it. So my Star Wars adventure, and we'll get to some Star Wars news today. We got. I was out for lunch with. It's hard to explain. He's my former therapist. He's also one of my old best friends' dad, and we've always had a special relationship. But we lost not contact, just weren't around each other's orbit for almost like 10 years. And we recently caught up at a family event for his family that I attended. And so we've been having some lunch and catching up, and we were just chit chatting. And he's a fan, more of a music fan than movie fan. So we have great music discussions. But in the middle of this lunch at an old person's restaurant in Van Nuys, California, he goes, "Hey, I watched that Star Wars show," and I'm like, "Okay, there we go." And I'm thinking, "Here we go. This is Andor. This is what is it? Mandalorian." He goes, "Yeah, the Advocate."
The adjunct professor? Yeah.
The Acolyte? The Acolyte. Yeah, that was it. Anyways, proceeded to have a long conversation with a very analytical, deep thinking mind about what was going on in that series, and he just absolutely loved it. And his younger son was watching it with them and kind of repeating some of the, shall we say, more negative, reductive talking points about the show, and he was saying, "I just don't see it. I think that's all silly." And we had a good discussion about the Jedi and the nature of good and evil, and people who use their words like freedom and choice to hide their sins versus actually fight for those things. It was a good, fun conversation. And to see the Acolyte from, we've discussed some of those big themes, but to see it from that mind's point of view was a fantastic Star Wars adventure.
Yeah, that's really great. It is nice anytime that you can have a substantive conversation
Mm-hmm.
about Star Wars. We have complained about many negative conversations, so I'm
Yeah,
thrilled that you
yeah,
had a good
and
one.
and free of all the bullshit, free of
Yeah.
all the not even super. Because yeah. Jeff kind of told me about some of the stuff. What are we doing here? Kind of attitude. Right? You're just talking about what it is.
Yeah,
So
just talking about the ideas. I am going to roll over and turn off the air conditioner that won't turn off, so I don't freeze to
oh
death. I'll be right back.
oh well, there you go.
Here's my old man rant, and before we start talk about Star Wars, every piece of technology thinks it's smarter than us. And he's like, "Are you sure you don't want to have your brights on right now? Are you sure you don't want to have air conditioning on? Are you sure you don't want coffee coming out of this machine right now? Like, just obey me, machines, obey me."
Yeah. Did you subscribe to AC Plus and get the app on your phone?
I don't know what it is. It's just like, no. You. It needs to be 32 degrees in this hotel room at all times.
I do love a good chilled hotel room, and then that panic when you're like, I've gone too far.
Oh God, yes. It's like, yeah.
We're going to talk some Star Wars news. We are in an interesting news cycle where there's not a ton, but then all of a sudden, potentially, a lot of stuff. So as I put on my reading glasses to get through this, because I have to face that reality, we've got a couple stories here, but a big one about Ahsoka Season 2. So diving in here, Eman Esfandi in two spots, actually, while he was speaking with Screen Rant while on the red carpet of the latest Spider-Man picture. Our live-action Ezra Bridger, Eman Esfandi, as I said, was asked about the upcoming second season of Ahsoka. He said, a lot of action, fights, battles, explosions, lightsabers, lasers. I'm having a flashback. So a lot of action. I think everybody's going to love it. Dave went nuts, and all of us were ready to follow suit of our fearless leader, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But that is not it. He was also on the Thank the Maker podcast. We like those boys. Check them out. He had more to say, a lot more to say. And I'll read it all here. You guys will not believe how big it gets. Dave just took the training wheels off. It's like he took them all off for all of us and himself in some way. But obviously not himself. He's a legend. But if you saw Rebels early and you see Rebels towards the end, you see that he takes off the training wheels. Clone Wars at the end, you're gutted. It's an adult drama. That similar transition where Dave started with a kids show and then transitioned them into adults, as the kids do. Not only who watch the show, but also the kids of the show. Ahsoka was a kid. Ezra was a kid. And they just have to grow up way too young. But you watch that, and a lot of us grew up, y'all's era, my era, the new era. We all had to grow up too young. There's war and everything going on all the time, trauma going on all the time. We're all just growing up too young. It feels like sometimes. It feels like sometimes. It's impressive to see, and I think Dave just does that really well. I think season 1 is almost like, hey, Rebel season 5. Here's some new characters, some setup, some action, a lot of love, a lot of like, wow, oh my god. And then season 2 is like guns blazing. All right. Roller coaster of a quote. A lot going on there. Joseph, what's your gut reaction to all that?
I really like. We'll talk more about kind of what does it mean that Iman is going out there, repeating the same thing lots of people have said. Of like, no, but seriously, it's so much bigger.
Right.
I really like what he's saying, both about the history of Dave Filoni's work and the history of the themes and how it connects to Ahsoka season 1, which I think was a lot about that chain of Jedi training that Ahsoka was a part of her wrestling with her own legacy, her wrestling with what is she going to pass on to Sabine, which ties a lot to what Eman is saying about Star Wars having many tales of kids who had to grow up too young because of war. And the idea that this Ahsoka season 2, there'll obviously be some war, but in the hopes of a battle to stop a war, with some of the framing of, the first season with, we got to stop Thrawn because Thrawn will cause a new war. But so there's all that thematic stuff, but there's also just that really practical, hey, sometimes Dave takes some time to cook, and how much of that, given, the vastly different times that Clone Wars and Rebels were made into Ahsoka, how much of that is his natural instinct of storytelling of like, you slowly lay everything out, you get people attached to the characters, and then you go hard, and how much of that is, for me, did he hear or feel some of the criticism about season 1, being a slow burn on the character arcs? And we've talked about it a lot, and I know some of our listeners are like, Ahsoka season 1 is perfect. They love it, and they love the pacing, and I'm thrilled for them. But for me, in my personal taste, it was a little slow. To
Mhm.
me, it was that I know Ahsoka is upset. I get generally what she's upset about. When's she going to start dealing with it? I so
Mhm.
there's a possibility to me that he heard some of that and was like, "All right, you want foot on the gas? I will. We will punch it, Chewie.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. And yeah, our concerns and complaints and issues with the Ahsoka are well documented here, and I bring that up again only to say that's my starting point on that show or that second season and things I loved in it, performances I loved in it, just execution and style and directing choices all through it that I didn't enjoy, and that gives me pause for what's coming and how it's going to look and feel on the small screen, and that's just something that has to do with streaming in the streaming era. Not everything can have the budget of Andor or look like House of the Dragon or something like that, but I hear this quote, and that's where I go to first. Is a little bit of like, okay, but how's it gonna look? Like,
Mm,
what is that? What are these space battles gonna feel like? After that,
yes.
it's all excitement. I'll get to, but that's where I actually start.
I think that's really interesting because yeah, for the most part I think Ahsoka looks pretty good. I think in terms of like budget and special
Yeah,
effects, like yeah, there's
yeah,
some like for my taste is that lightsaber battle shot in a way that really makes you feel it, kind of
hmm
thing, and yeah, but
hmm
for budget, I wouldn't be surprised if like maybe that's a part of the reason that it is being delayed to 2027. That it's like
hmm
if we're gonna do this, we're not gonna be like Kenobi, where like some things look amazing and then some things look like
hmm
a Disney Bob came in and said, "Cut the budget." In the position that Filoni is in with the company, they are not. This is the last live action thing that we are aware of. They have not announced any
right,
other live action thing, and we'll
right,
get to talking about the specter of the announced Filoni New Republic era film that is hanging over all this.
hmm
But there is a part of me that maybe he was just like, we are going all in on this one.
yeah,
This is the big hurrah. We are going all in. So I'm not concerned about it looking like it's happened to Star Wars a couple times and Marvel a couple times. Like we're putting out too much.
hmm
We're cutting back on budget, and we're also just stressing that there are only so many people who do this work across the
yeah,
world. And I think
yeah,
some of that Marvel stuff was like you didn't give the humans that exist on the planet who have this job enough time to make Doctor
right,
Strange third eyeball look good. Like you
yeah,
didn't give them the time.
yeah. I agree
And
with
I
that
don't
full
think
heart.
that's going to happen with this.
Good. I'll meet you at that. I'll meet you at that place there and approach it with only because sometimes it just even I don't know how to explain this. Even something in Ahsoka, especially the beginning. I like that opening sequence actually
Hmm.
when Baylan Skoll and Shinhati show up. I think it's a great sequence. I'm like it just all looks too clear for me. it's all it's not, but not in a like ooh I can see the seams on the outfit, but just like it's too hot off or off the rack. The outfits are just not lived in to me and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, I said that's where I started.
Hmm.
But in hearing his excitement and him echoing Iman echoing what other people have kind of hinted at, I'm not surprised at that. Obviously, just based on what's been talked about and announced in the past. But what I needed, I think, to pull from this was a reminder of that Dave and team. We always like to acknowledge the massive amount
Hmm.
of people behind Clone Wars, Rebels, and all the shows. But with Dave at the helm, for lack of a better word, that is what it's done, right? Even though I was on board a little more earlier in Clone Wars than others, like the show changes absolutely in a lot of ways, look, feel,
Hmm.
perhaps even budget, but where it goes. Rebels is a great example of that. In fact, today as we record is the 12-year anniversary. Thanks, Facebook. 12-year anniversary of launching Jedi Alliance with Maud Garrett and
Wow.
right, 12 years. Which is also for Rebels, because the Rebels debuted that fall, and that's where I initially was just like, I ain't having it. Too many bright colors. What are these outfits they're wearing? I don't know about this. And I was wrong because some of the thoughts I had about the season being too light and fluffy just ain't true.
Hmm.
And early on in that show, it gets a little deeper than you might remember. But where that show starts to where it ends is a great reminder for me that, yeah, this is, for whatever reason, cooking, like you said, taking time, building the world. This is what happens with Dave properties. And that I should be a little more, just aware of my history of loving that. Animation, live action, some differences I get. Maybe that's why I'm concerned about the look. I wouldn't be concerned in animation. But that makes me excited. So that's where my gut goes there, and then it ends up here. That exciting.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I'm very excited. I definitely had some bumps with Ahsoka season 1, but I love the characters. I love the ideas. And if Ahsoka season 2 is all those characters, all those themes, but blasters blazing, then I'm really excited.
Are there any specific plot lines, stories, anything you're looking forward to in a big, giant, sweeping, training wheels removed season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the promise of Mortis I want fulfilled. So much of what we've heard about
Yes.
this is about, hey, Ezra's going to have lots to do. Hera's going to have lots to do. It's going to be Akbar versus Thrawn, which I'll get back to when we talk more about the New
Mm-hmm.
Republic side. But what we've heard about so much is hey, here's all this stuff that the not Ahsoka people are going to be doing that's real cool in the show called
Right.
Ahsoka. And I'm fine with I'm totally fine with it being an ensemble show or was a fantastic ensemble show. And that's fine. I don't care. But I really do care about the threads that were started with Ahsoka, Sabine, Baylan, Shin, Peridia, Mortis being meaty, because I think that is, at the end of the day, Ahsoka got to a really interesting place. We ended with great clarity on her and Sabine's relationship and journey. Baylan was fantastic, but too many cryptic hints, and I want to just dig in and get into the soul of it. So I want him to have some wild plan and wild philosophy of, I have to break the wheel, I have to break the cycle, and going to this other worldly Mortis realm, that can change fate is my intent. Seeing how Ahsoka deals with that, seeing the following up, the whole Ahsoka is going to end up in Mortis. You can almost say jokey, because now people have been saying it for
Long time.
10 years, 15 years, whatever. And you can be kind of jokey about it, and it can be the whole, like, well, why isn't she hanging out? Why isn't she fighting Kylo Ren? Why wasn't she around to be the auntie who put him down?
Yeah.
But putting aside all of that, it's a deeply rich and amazing story that she was resurrected by the life force of an embodiment of the light side of the Force in the daughter, and that is walking with her in the convor. Is watching over her like she has some great destiny, that she's going to be in a place of choice. And I'm really interested in all of what that means for Ahsoka, the character, and how she feels about her own life, her own purpose, her own journey, and the nature of the Force, what it truly deeply means to be a Jedi. She is somebody who's been like, I'm going to walk away from the system when the system's not doing the things that it claimed it should. Now I've wrestled with, am I kind of poisoned by my weird lineage, and am I doomed to give in to some darkness and pass it on? She's emerged from that by literally becoming sort of Ahsoka the White in this very fantasy Lord of the Rings. And I want her to come face to face with all that and deal with it in the emotional reality of Ahsoka going to Mortis, not the Wikipedia answer of what happens to Ahsoka, but the character.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you. I was going to try to say that myself, in the sense of, like, I'm less worried about what happens. I just want to spend time there being the other side of the Force, the other side of the wars and the stars and those wars and all that. I want to go to I guess the weird, though I think this is more the profound. This is more high fantasy to me, the Mortis of it all. We'll talk, like you said, about Akbar and Thrawn, and I think that's to do more with the New Republic storytelling directly. But when I think about what do I want, what am I looking forward to, I want to spend time on Peridia and understanding a little bit more what's going on. I am intrigued by, like, Shin Hati's over there. And putting a lightsaber in the air and commanding these
Marauders.
The Marauders. Yeah, I said pirates, but spending too much time in House of the Dragon right now with the triarchy. With the Marauders, but just like, all right, what are you doing there? We got Sabine and Ahsoka there. We've got Baylan Skoll. Looking forward to Rory McCann's interpretation of it, though we always miss Ray Stevenson. But yeah, what? All right, you've been staring off into the clouds for a long time. Now what? And I'm just really excited because Mortis, before we launched the Clone Wars report, I was a big fan of the Clone Wars. But if you had asked me what are my favorite episodes, my memory would become overwhelmed of all the choices. But then I would say, probably the Mortis arc, which, by the way, it still is. Other things might have surpassed it when you take a deeper dive into the show. But Mortis, to me, is the thing that's always just kind of hung over Star Wars. Because you know that's the stuff that George just probably absolutely loves to throw out there. My sequel trilogy would have gone into the micro world, and they did it. And George loves that. So even though we watch the shows like Andor, we watch Kenobi doing his thing, we all this, and in the wars themselves. The fact that there's this thing that just is over all of it, this crazy, hard to understand realm. I want to go straight into that. I want that to be on display for casual fans to be like, what the hell? And longtime fans to be like, yeah, this is right. This is the mythical side.
Yeah, the mythical side. And I so love that there are other galaxies, and we went to Peridea in that, but that idea of but all things that exist in the Star Wars not galaxy, but the Star Wars reality, are connected by the same force, regardless of what different people call it. So if it ends up being sort of Ahsoka and Baylan enter whatever version of Mortis, world between worlds, whatever surreal metaphysical place, and are battling over the soul of the Force itself, while Sabine and Shin are having some sort of conflict out in the world of Peridea, and Sabine and the Turtle Folk versus Shin and the Marauders, and I'm totally with the shippers. There's a vibe between Sabine and Shin, and I would love to see that explored.
That's absolutely possible. And it's something I'd be on board for as well. And also the thing that I think I'd be interested in, looking forward to. Yeah, there's all these rumors of we know Hayden's back, all those kind of things. Is Ewan McGregor there? Who knows? We'll find out. But I was a person who was like, all right, I'm struggling a little bit with some of the series. Holy shit, they're going back to the Clone Wars. We're exploring things. We got Hayden doing some of his best Darth Vader, Anakin work. I want to spend more time there. Whether it's a full episode, I don't know. Go give me a live-action Clone Wars episode. I don't care. But going back, not just seeing it, but exploring some of the stories, exploring some of the things as it affected Ahsoka, any trauma that she might have picked up from these kind of things, and anything that she needs to work out. Also, Ahsoka season 1 does kind of end with I would say, peaceful place between her and Anakin. So if you're going back, what are you going to explore? That's even new territory for me in the I say flashbacks in a general sense. It could be just a story that takes place back there. But I'm excited for those possibilities.
Oh yeah, me too. I think it makes sense because the show in its first season set up the idea that Ahsoka has, Ahsoka and the Jedi have to reckon with the fact of she was made to fight a war when she was a child, and I think it's interesting that Eman is making that same comparison with Ezra. So it feels like thematically the show would have reason to continue to get back to the Clone Wars and the because that's also seemed to be what broke Baylan. So that makes sense for So if the flashback is that time Baylan went on a mission with Kenobi, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know there was that Sideshow put out a weirdly and somewhat controversial Ahsoka figure that was clearly Ariana Greenblatt, and then was immediately pulled back. The choice of outfit was a little disappointing to folks, to say the least. And it's gone. And it was just one of those was that one of those oopsie toy leaked something or what's going on? But I haven't heard any rumors of her as an actor being back. But she was, I thought, so good in that role. It'd be fun to explore. This we're talking about things we want in season 2, and we're excited for them, and none of them have to do with Ezra. And this guy Ezra himself, Eman, is talking about it. But actually, I am excited to see what happens now that Ezra Bridger is back over in, I guess I'll say our galaxy, but the galaxy we're more familiar with. So this season, Joseph, it looks like, and it has been rumored and talked about for a while, it will be expanding the New Republic era of storytelling greatly. So I was going to ask, what do we want from that? This is the Akbar, the Thrawn, the witches, the Ezra, the Hera of it all.
There's so much to explore. Yeah. And Iman said in that first quote that you shared, a lot of action, fights, battles, explosions, lightsabers, lasers. I'm having a flashback. I think he must mean I'm having a flashback to earlier Star Wars. I don't take that as confirmation that he, Ezra, in the character in the show, is having a flashback, right?
He's having a flashback to a day on the set, maybe. I don't know. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, maybe he's having a flashback to a really good piece of pizza he had. I don't know. But regardless, I really want Ezra's Jedi perspective. We've talked about a lot. He was such a breath of fresh air and forward movement, and when he came in Ahsoka season 1, and he had come to such a place of like learning and peace about at the end of Rebels about finding the place that you're most needed and be of service. And he obviously has plenty of trauma too, but he's maybe in a different place with Ahsoka and Luke, where he isn't dealing with the trauma of I come from a line of Jedi who fell. He doesn't have that sort of Vader shadow. So I'm really interested to see if he has a different perspective to like, I am now the Jedi of the New Republic. Luke is off teaching, and he's reticent about joining a war. But I'm not. I'm here. I will defend you. And see if he's just got clarity on it, or if he ends up being like, oh, this is why Ahsoka was haunted. I understand why Kanan was so unsure of himself and his choices when I first met him as a middle-aged Jedi in a time of crisis. Like, I'm so excited to see what they do with Ezra's perspective on his own Jedi-ness.
I am too. And I love, to me, you're kind of describing it as when we all hit that age where you're like, oh, my dad was not lying about that back pain. Oh, my eyes are going. I have to wear readers now. Oh, yeah. I'm right there with you. It is, we've talked about for years, after we kind of spent a lot of time thinking, only 1 or 2 Jedi survived this purge we had heard about, and Luke's the last of the Jedi. I think that is actually still true from a big certain point of view, but it makes a lot of sense that others would have survived, and there's other Jedi in the mix. But Ezra, at this point, is a big, just a stone in the pool there, and I think it could have some effects, and I'm excited to see what he'll do in this New Republic era. I love that you're saying, like, hey, yeah, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm ready to go in my own way. I'm not going to hack and slash everyone to death, but I'm ready to be with you here in this fight, because it's something that I've always wanted to. This is the guy that showed up to Kenobi and was like, I'm here to help. And Kenobi had to be like, yeah, you're not belonging here.
Yeah.
You don't belong here. So if Ezra's like, this is where I belong, he'll have a lot of conviction, I think, in being involved in any kind of fight, or as you said, the war to stop wars.
The war to stop a war. Yeah, and obviously I want Hera, had a couple of good, scenes of really, pushing back against councils, but there was a lot of like, I'm giving Ahsoka advice and sometimes the same advice. So I really want more out of Hera. I really want to see Hera the pilot. I really want to see Hera the leader. I really want to see Hera the conflicted mother who has, a son in a point of crisis. I think that was a good thing in the first season, where she's like, hey, I fought in a war. Like, I really fought in the war since I was a child in the Resistance on Ryloth. I don't want that for my son. And I think pulling that thread of, just like Ahsoka had anxiety about, what did I learn by being Anakin's apprentice? What did I learn from being a teen in a war? What am I going to pass on to Sabine? I think a lot of that can get transferred thematically to Jason too, of like, is Ezra like, great, let's go build a lightsaber. Let's go. I'll train you, kid.
Hmm.
and or is there a desire to keep Jason away from everything? I think there's a lot thematically that could be happening there with Jason too.
Yeah, I agree with that. And of course, Chopper's involvement in all of that. And I think the big thing hanging over a lot of this part of the discussion is that Thrawn versus Akbar thing, teased by Dave and many others now. I'm intrigued by that. Not just, well, yes, I want to see Akbar in action. In large part because I love the character, but also a little part just to also see if what I had always kind of snarkily said about critics of the Last Jedi, thinking Holdo should be Akbar. I'm like, you don't want that. You would not have wanted that dialogue with that fish man trying to mumble his way through serious dialogue with Leia. I don't think it would have worked as much as it has in your brain for years. But to kind of see that in play, I want Akbar to be a star. I want him to be a lot of episodes. Now let's do it. Let's put it all on the map.
I agree. That was one of on my list too. Is like I want a dead effing serious scene with Akbar. Shoot him in shadows in his moment of crisis. Kind of
Yeah.
like I'm mixing the streams here, but like he's in battle, and then he like Picard going to the ready room where he's like just off the bridge, going, "What am I doing? I'm going to get all these people killed. Am I making the right choices?" Holding his
Oh
big
yes.
head in his flipper hands, like. I mean, you kind of joke about it, but like, there's that
Yes.
shot in Jedi where he is given that gravitas. When the
Yes.
Superstar Destroyer goes down, and he sighs, and it's like it's not a fist pumping thing that they took it down. It's like I'm trying to stop everyone from dying, and it's a relief that this thing fell. It's not a great
Yeah.
victory. It's a relief. And so if he's like, "Yep, I get it. We're fighting a battle to stop a war."
Hmm.
I want to see that fish man feel the weight of it and lean into it and make it work.
Yes, and obviously, if Dave has any idea of using this guy, this character, he has before. Obviously, involved with the Clone Wars arcs with Captain Akbar, right? So he has a handle on it, and yeah, and this would be the time we talked about. We've talked about in the past for a lot of things, but specifically Luke Skywalker shown at the end of season 2 of Mandalorian. That is a character that needed to be there at that time. That was the thing that made the most sense beyond just, hey, remember Luke? It's like, oh, no, Luke would answer the call. This is the time where I think someone like Akbar, you got Mothma there, would be involved. Now, that said, there are 3 characters that hang over a lot of this era, Leia, Han, and Luke. And using them in any way, shape, or form would be you've already crossed that Luke barrier. I don't think they're going to return to that. To me, you have a young Han to play, and I don't expect to. I expect references. We had a reference to Leia. You can put 3PO and anything there and have it work. But all this leads to this big want for me when I ask myself the question of what do I want out of this New Republic era storytelling is a clearer framework of what was going on. We've got so many things from 2014 on that talk about this new canon of the New Republic. It establishes a lot of things. We know some of the players. We have a book like Bloodline that goes deep into the era, especially with the neo Imperials collecting things from the past. There's a lot there. Wendig's books, even I include Battle of Jakku in that, and video games, everything. We've got a lot on the map. I would like a little bit. I don't need. This is about putting things in like some sort of timeline order or making sense of it all. Just like, all right, this might be the most we've got to spend, or we've had the chance to spend directly in this era with the state of it, with the state of the politics, the state of the world. I'm not expecting it and/or deep dive into the politics of the Republic, but what I'm talking about. Just like, hey, give me this framework. If it's Thrawn versus Akbar to stop this war in the New Republic, that means I really got to know what's going on in the New Republic.
Oh yeah, like what? Yeah, no, I agree with. We got a really good sense of this is how the government was eventually shaped. I'm forgetting the name of the 2 factions.
Was it populist and centrist?
Populist and centrist, and I love this idea that it was held together by Mothma's experience and her respect. But when she was gone as the sort of leader, there was a power vacuum, and it got more factional and it didn't function as well. I love that idea in Bloodline, but it also speaks to, a government that's functioning pretty well. I know there are all sorts of theories about Kaz's dad. Sorry, my names are
Oh,
gone.
yeah.
Being who's featured in Ahsoka season 1
Yeah.
is a first order mole, because he was
Mm-hmm.
conveniently not killed by the Starkiller base explosion. Um, so I wouldn't mind seeing some of that. Uh,
Yeah.
and all of this leaves the witches off the table. Which what
Right.
I love that Thrawn just like, hey, whatever resource I have, oh, there are witches here, great. But
Yeah.
I still love that every time in Rebels and in canon Thrawn he's foiled. It's because there's some weird force
Mm.
crap he can't predict. Like there's a giant ox who turned into a storm. Well, how am I supposed to
What? Yeah.
pre-plan for an ox who turns into a storm? Like Ezra can call
Yeah.
friendly whales. I did with tentacles. I didn't. Okay, I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
it is really interesting to Thrawn being like, okay, well, the matters of the
Mm.
galaxy hinge on
Yeah.
otherworldly powers. So to see what the Night Sisters want, if they are basically going to be a part of his army,
Mm-hmm.
is that something Ezra's going to face? That does put more pressure on.
Mm-hmm.
There, an old faction of Force users is reemerged. Does seem like something Luke would
Yeah. Yeah.
address or be curious about or have an opinion about. And I don't know. I think a part of me just feels like we've got so many characters in so many threads that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
okay if in the background of one battle there's the Falcon, and we heard about
Yes.
Leia passed this other note in the Senate and made something happen like she did in season 1, and
Yes.
Luke is off in a vision quest talking to Mother Talzin. Great, it'll get a little
Mm-hmm.
hand. It could get a little hand wavy,
Yeah.
but I don't know that there's room for them. So I just need the
Right.
reason for them not being on screen to feel not like they're out of town this week. Otherwise, the big three would be here this week, you know?
I actually really agree with that. I too don't expect to see them in the show in any way, shape, or form. And I don't even necessarily think I want to. You said there's no room for them, and I actually agree with the story that you're building, which is maybe something that's very intentional. But I absolutely agree with you. I don't want it just to be. I don't. I think to me there has to be some sort of mention. It would start with Leia.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we already got that. It's tough ground.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. We're making this in 2025, 26, release it in 27. It's not 1994 where this would be a lot easier to maybe make this series. No, though Harrison probably wouldn't be around. That's part of it too. Because Luke's and you're right about the witches. Luke's in danger of being like Indiana Jones's father at the beginning of Last Crusade, just like so focused on something, counting Latin to 10. That I don't want him to be so removed that I suddenly have issues with Luke as a character.
Yeah, like come on, Luke.
Come on, man.
Come
Yeah,
on.
come on.
He's like, I'm just too busy with my student.
And Hamato Ziono,
Yes, thank
because
you. Thank you,
it's
yes.
going to drive both of us crazy because
Yes.
our memories ain't what they used to be, kids.
Mm-mm-mm.
So I'm combining some things here. We got this tease from Eman Esfandi. What does this tease do to your expectations of future seasons of the Ahsoka series? Season 2, but beyond. And then what do we think about the chances of the previously announced Filoni movie actually happening? And you made me think of something. If you had some sort of budget allocated for that and the Disney Bobs, and by the way, even if your name is Josh, you're a Disney Bob. If they come in and, the budgets don't exactly work with let's just take it from this ledger and put it onto this one, but maybe you could. I don't know. The future. Also, throw in the wrinkle here, Joseph, the canceling of Wonder Man over in the Marvel side. There's been a lot of discussion this week of, well, that's it. They don't want to make streaming shows anymore. Sorry, kids. There's a lot about the business, but also about the stories. Where do you go? What does this tease do for all of that?
Yeah, no, you're so right to bundle it all together. And the first season of Wonder Man is one of my favorite shows I've watched in the last 5 years. That is phenomenal. It is, in some ways, it is like the Andor of Marvel, where it is really different, but it is also absolutely of Marvel and building on the same themes, but it's told differently. And so it's a breath of fresh air. It's so bummed about the renewal back into a cancellation. It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
But it does make me feel like, all right, so Disney Plus launched in a different era of streaming where it was sort of like, we can survive on our brands. We're not trying to be the Netflix, we have one of everything. We're the place where Star Wars, Marvel, The Simpsons, National Geographic lives. And I think they ran into the like, oh, it's expensive to constantly produce new Marvel and Star Wars stories, and it diminished people's interest in them because it was too much. And the whole homework conversation, whether you agree with it or not, is, something executives have to work with. Since then, they've bundled with Hulu, and Disney Plus now is just Netflix. I mean, like, remember when Disney Plus came out and they were like, will they even allow the Netflix version of Daredevil to be on Disney Plus? Because he has sex and breaks some people's necks and blood comes out. So that can't be like, and now you turn on Disney Plus and it's like, would you like to watch Henry and June? Would you like to watch super violent sexy time? Or would you like to watch Mickey Can't Find His Pants? It's
also sexy time.
Also sexy time. Bad example on my part. But it is really like that, like where Disney is gone. It's Disney Hulu and it's another Netflix. So the reason I go on that ramble is I think that a bunch of Disney Bobs, whether the name is Bob or not, are sitting there going, do we need to make more Marvel and Star Wars live action shows? Or can we get away with maybe making one every 2 years, maybe one a year? And I do think that directly affects the future of Ahsoka.
That's a great point you're making here. But also, now I just want Mickey and Minnie's Big Day in. You're right, because I even have now, I'm short on cash these days, so I had to start, cutting things back or combining things. I now have my HBO Max, which with its violent dragons and dirty sex, I now have that through the Disney bundle. It's not on it, but it's through it.
Yeah.
So, and it saved me about $8 a month. Kids.
Nice.
Tax write-off still, but $8 a month. And to your point, like there's been obviously a lot of talk, and we're not business experts, and we're not in these meetings, as we always like to say, but as people in and around the industry, we have people in the industry and we have these kind of conversations. Not only is our town struggling and things are changing rapidly and it's depressing more and more each day, but you're right. From 2019 to now, the home of things you love versus we're just another version of TV because that's kind of what worked better. They don't need to rely on just one or two properties. They got it all. This is where you go for Hulu, a well-respected network, so to speak, over the years, right? That puts out things that people like. It's a different time. Where when I first, Mandalorian pops up, we're watching that. I watched Mandalorian and the show with who's the guy the legend that voiced Goofy? Was it Bill Farmer? Him going around meeting animals, and that was what I watched on the channel. Right? That's kind of all they had, and we're not there anymore. They are a cable option. And that changes the need to have all these things.
And I know, I mean, it would be great sometime when we're talking about this on a live show. Obviously, people can leave things in the comments, but when we're doing a live show, we get direct, responses from people in the chat. I mean, I'm curious how many of our ForceCenter friends would cancel Disney Plus if they're like, we're going to make another live show in 2029, and we're not committing to making them all the time at this rate. Would folks cancel Disney Plus, or is it there? I mean, some of the stuff is not available on streaming, and it's very convenient. It's like that's where your Star Wars lives. I think they might be doing some correct calculus that they don't need to put out as many shows to keep the subscribers. Maybe I'm wrong, but
And the goalposts always move with these folks and everything. But I think there's some truth to that. And it doesn't mean I feel good about some of these shows that have been canceled, including The Acolyte. I didn't watch Wonder Man, but a lot of people echoing what you're saying. And it's disappointing, especially because it was announced as renewed. And we have nothing beyond this in Star Wars. So, and I would be sad. Like I would cancel it. I wouldn't, it's funny. I wouldn't cancel things unless I absolutely need food money, which I do. But I wouldn't cancel because of what you're talking about. I think I've been so lost in the streaming and this and that and the shows and the budgets and how it looks. Clearly, it's how I even started this episode. That I forgetting that I just go to Disney Plus to watch TV now.
Mm-hmm.
You're very smart to bring that up. I had not really ruminated on that till this moment. So, but I would be disappointed. I will be disappointed if there's not at least one more new Star Wars live action show to follow this one, or another season of something, or something.
Yeah.
On that, app.
Yeah, we have Maul coming.
We do.
On the Marvel side, there's another season of Daredevil, but I think they are getting to the point where they kind of owe the audience that started with them as this is where Star Wars and Marvel lives, and it's where news stories come from. Some like, this is our intent. Hey, we did too much. Now we're going to do fewer. They're not going to come out as often, but we're going to put all of our heart and soul and money into them, and they're going to be great.
Like a reverse Investors Day, that famous Investors Day where, they just put stuff up. And I had, back when we were a little more connected to that rumor mill, you and I, Jen, and just the whole podcast community, like there was a story I heard that the new Rangers of the New Republic might have had some names attached to it, but no one really knew what the bleep it was, and that was kind of the first time anyone saw the logo. Like, I'll take that with all grain of salt years later, but like it kind of had that vibe, not just with Star Wars, but everything. That famous Investors Day was like shows. Hey, everybody. Droids. You want to watch an animated Droids movie? Where's that? Lando, all those things. All that there. So yeah, that one quietly, not under expectations.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need the reverse day where Disney Bob Josh stands up there and just goes, hey, investors, here's where we're at. We don't have a lot of that stuff. Remember when Bob Iger, the original Disney Bob, was breaking news, hot scoops on investor calls?
Yes, that was where we got our biggest news. Yeah, we coined the term IgerCon because it was like he was the announcement. Yeah, we
need that.
Yeah, we need a Tomorrow, right? Josh Tomorrow.
Yeah. Disney Bob Josh Tomorrow.
Disney Bob Josh Tomorrow Con. To announce on this stuff. So I think for me, like how it all relates to Ahsoka season 2 is there is a truth out there, and Dave Filoni knows it, and we do not, which is there a season 3 of Ahsoka, or is part of this blasters blazing because this is the culmination at the end of this series? The New Republic story won't be over, but by the end of this series, Ahsoka could be at her sort of final moment, whatever that is. I think probably living on in Mortis to serve the galaxy. It could be that Akbar, kicks Thrawn's ass, and what was going to be the movie is Ahsoka season 2. Or it could be, hey, that movie's not happening, but we're confirming Ahsoka season 3 halfway through Ahsoka season 2, so you don't expect resolution. Or it could be, we're going to do a Disney Plus movie, or we're going to wrap up the Mandoverse with a big crossover event on Disney Plus. I think there's all the business of it. And I personally don't have, I am more invested in the story being told and being communicated with clearly from creators to fans or company to fan. Than what the medium is, but I want the story resolved, and I don't want it left dangling. And so, at some point during Ahsoka season 2, Dave Filoni do an Instagram video and say, "Brace yourself for the culmination," or say, "In 2028, season 3, Disney TV movie, whatever." I don't think the movie that they announced in London in 2023 is going to be in theaters, personally.
Yeah, that's where I'll start. Absolutely not. I'm just double checking. We're looking at 8 episodes, right, for this second season.
I feel like we've talked about like 22 episodes worth of cool stories, ideas, and characters.
That's the thing, and I think that you could handle it, and I don't mind this being a real packed show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and we're kind of used to this. It's for all the reasons we grew up with 22 episodes a season. I know that's long gone. But the 10 at least felt good. At least felt like you had a lot of room. 12 for Andor, I know, but 8 for this. It's a lot. And yeah, I don't think that movie's happening. And I just keep thinking the way this was kind of talked about is, Dave leaking some. And by the way, Dave wouldn't go on social media and talk about this, Joseph. He put a piece of art on a napkin out
Yes.
that you're supposed to here's what it is.
Please draw on an airport napkin. What is the fate of the Ahsoka narrative, if it's going to continue or not?
Yeah, but I'm with you. I definitely want this season to end with a feeling of resolution for the stories contained within it. But that's also why I want the framework of the New Republic kind of built out a little bit more, including some timeline stuff, just so we now know where we can take it, or if that's where we can play in our imaginations in that, like, oh, here's what went down in the New Republic. And 3 years later, someone pitches that dark and gritty New Republic politics show. We can go there. We know where it is. It's somewhat undefined during these days. And so I'd like that. And going forward, I wouldn't be opposed. I wouldn't be opposed to this movie happening. And I wouldn't be opposed to a third season. I think some of the realities of Dave being in charge or co-in charge with Lin Brennan, but in charge of kind of the creative side of things, he's got they got to think about a lot of big things in the future. I'm not saying he couldn't write and direct a third season of Ahsoka and not do his job. I don't know how his home life would go at that. I can't imagine him, handle it. But and could he hand off those characters, specifically Ahsoka, if she doesn't have a clear resolution? I don't know. But I think that hangs over this as well too, about all this stuff going forward. So, but at the end of the day, prediction-wise, the safest bet you can make, we're not sponsored by a sports gambling app, is that the Dave Filoni announced movie will be the second season of Ahsoka.
The second season, or there's a deal in place and he's locked on a third season, which would have a nice trilogy feel, and it would allow the second season to just be the darkness and the conflict, and then third season resolution. I'm kind of by the time that a movie version of the culmination of Thrawn versus New Republic came out, maybe things would have changed. But in the world where the Mando and Grogu movie was too in the weeds, I don't want to, frankly, listen to the debates about and the snark from non-Star Wars fans and even casual Star Wars fans of this blue guy is fighting Fishman and the lady from the cartoon is in it, and like it's kind of the perfect storm of in too deep for the current conversation. Even for those of us who love it and would go to that movie 8 times, it's just not where the market is at, and there'd be so much cruelty and negativity about the film out there in the world.
Agreed. What is it? This is just the third season of Ahsoka. It's just like a big episode. Just a big episode.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Well, there we go. We did about 45 on these 200 quotes, and I'll end it right here before we go to our final little story, Joseph. The one thing I'll say is Eman Esfandi just seems like a great dude, a bona fide rock star. Did bring a fresh of fast-paced air to Ahsoka season 1. I love his portrayal. I think everyone does a great job, but I think he's the one that's most not like the animated character, because you want your own print on it as an actor, but just like it was seamless to me. The other one's a little less. And that includes Ahsoka at times, though I think Rosario is great in the role. But I love his performance, and I love his energy and enthusiasm. And that was the best part of this story for me. Yeah,
no, I agree, and I can't wait to see more Ezra.
More is indeed. Before we get out of here in Star Wars news, we got this: Dungeons and Dragons and Star Wars. Last week at Gen Con, it was announced that a Star Wars D&D gameplay book will be released in 2027. It'll be part of Wizards of the Coast Universes Beyond collection. It'll take place, the whole story that you get to act out, of course, take place during the season of the Rebellion. Star Wars and tabletop and RPG games, they have a very storied history. But what do you think here about this story, Joseph? You have a lot more experience on this side of things than me, but we both have big connections, including we both have a mutual friend who's working on this. I texted him this week.
Awesome.
And got some stuff.
Yeah. I am not a huge D&D player. I've only played it a little bit, but I'm pretty deep into this world. many of my friends in Minneapolis are deep into the role playing game world, and I have played so many hours of Call of Cthulhu and other games, and frankly, a ton of my friends have worked or currently work for Fantasy Flight Games, which has produced many of the Star Wars games. I own one of the older Star Wars role playing games, a D6 based one. So I think for me the truth is Dungeons and Dragons and its system and its machinery is immensely popular and accessible. So I'm thrilled that Star Wars role playing will be accessible to lots and lots and lots of people who want to try it out. And if you've been in the world a little bit longer and you're like, why does everything have to be D&D? Why does everything have to be Wizards of the Coast? You still got those old games,
Yeah.
and you can invite your friends over for a D6 Star Wars, but this will just make it more accessible to so many more people because the system is so popular and so well known.
Yeah, and like the storied history of celebrating and exploring Star Wars in this way, just any kind of tabletop, any kind of RPG, I think it's always been there. I had fun back in the day on was it Hyper RPG. I did a one shot with was Bert and Emma, Joe Starr, DMing us, Hector Navarro, and it was a lot of fun. And so this kind of stuff, and I'm definitely aware of the Wizards of the Coast controversies, and trust me, my poor friend has to, sometimes we have to have drinks over breakfast to get him through some of the stuff there. And I'll say this, lawyers have a lot to do with the dumb stuff that you're sometimes hearing and dealing with out there. But I just in a world in which, and I'm using D&D here as a general kind of catch-all phrase, and I know the differences, but like, in a world where D&D is still on the rise, like Critical Role is now finding new energy with cast changes and other projects, and the Wizards of the Coast actual play series that's going on, like it's still on the rise. And so Star Wars having any kind of place in that, even though it's something I don't necessarily participate in or follow along with, I think that's just kind of exciting for me. A storied franchise and a storied game coming together officially in some capacity. I like it.
Yeah, I do too, and yeah, Wizards of the Coast has definitely stepped in it in the past. But yeah,
Indeed. Final question of the day, Joseph. Final question of the day. Then you can take one of the greatest things in the world, a hotel nap. It's the best. What characters would we build to play in this Star Wars story world?
Right, 'cause it's Season of Rebellion. I assume that's another way to say like the original trilogy era. In celebration of the term that was used in Ahsoka, I would roll up a Boken Jedi, somebody who had been trained outside of and here's what I always try to make the weird characters. I would want to be like a middle-aged Boken Jedi, because we have stories of like Ezra was born on Empire Day. He grew up, he was force sensitive, and Kanan trained him. It was like, what if you're like 42 and you were never found by the Jedi, but you're like, but I can kind of lightly make twigs move when I'm doing my lawn work.
I can stir my spaghetti with my mind.
Yeah, I get these feelings sometimes, and then they come true. I see things a middle-aged person who's like only okay at the Force. I would love that.
Yeah. In the past, I've suggested things when asked like, "Hey, what kind of character would you be in the world?" Like a uniform maker is one of my early ones. Of like, look, that's a growth industry. That was more during the Clone War era, Old Republic era. But a DJ, I created like a HoloNet DJ at one point. But I think for this series, if I'm going to meet with my friends every Thursday to play, I want to go with a little truth. I want to be like a former like Imperial, not necessarily ISB, but he had a job because it was the thing. His uncle got him the job, and he just kind of like, this is what you do. And then he kind of had a change of heart, but he remained uninvolved. He remained passive about things. And then suddenly in the Season of Rebellion, he's like, wait a minute, what if I was to get involved? What if I was to do something here? And we've seen versions of that, I know, in the story, but I think I could play it and live with it every week. Because every time I play, I don't play a lot. On my show, The Blathering, Jared the TIE Pilot is leading producer Steve and I on a weekly D&D game to save my dog Franny at a convention. It's been a lot of fun, and I always play as a war dwarf, kind of surly, bearded with a war hammer. So how can I translate that into this world? I'd go with that direction.
That's very. I thought you were going to pull out the hammer right now. And I got one in real life. Here's my hammer.
I got a war hammer.
I got a mic and a hammer. I'm ready to podcast.
There you go. And also, for what it's worth, shout out to Alex and Molly, who I don't know where they are at with that. I apologize if you guys are listening to us on your walk, as you often do. Turn around and walk faster back to your house and text us the information. They've been working on a Star Wars, role-playing tabletop kind of experience and shot a lot of things, and I think that's a great idea, and I know that stuff exists out there in other places too, but it'd be fun to see it rise. So
yeah,
there you go. There you go. And for those asking about a ForceCenter one, we don't have the time. Sorry. We don't.
I would love to do that someday. That would be great. Maybe we'll do a one-off.
Yeah, maybe we'll get on there for a one-off there with Alex and Molly. All right. That's it for today. As you can see, Joseph's in a hotel. We got things to do, but we love hanging out with all of you. Sorry we couldn't go live today for the news. We'll be back live Friday there. And we also have a episode of Star Wars Questions coming out later in the week that is about the legacy of Carrie Fisher and Princess Leia. I think one of my favorite discussions of ours in recent times. We really get into some things there. So it's good coming your way this week. You can find us on social media at ForceCenter Pod. Our Facebook page is ForceCenter Podcast as a audio version. Guess what I forgot to do yesterday because I traveled this weekend. I forgot to put out Databank Brawl. Well, next week we'll catch up to it. I knew I should have done it before I left for Ventura. We can follow the podcast to get the audio versions there. Merch is available at TeePublic or at Fourth Wall at our shop. You can also go to patreon.com/ForceCenter to support us there. Follow me at Cat Napzok or my show, The Blathering Live, where we do have a lot of fun, like doing D&D at a convention to save my chihuahua from mysterious attackers. You can also, like I said, go to my website, catnapzok.com. I'm trying to fix my website store so I can sell some things.
Yeah.
But I'm having some issues with my new web zone provider. Sorry, a reference to a YouTube channel I don't like anymore. Joseph, where can they find and follow you and your adventures with Dead Media?
Yeah, you can follow me on all the social media at Joseph Scrimshaw on everything but X. You can also follow Dead Media on Instagram, Dead Media Movie on Instagram. And if you want to check out upcoming dates for screenings near you of Dead Media, you can go to antennareleasing.com/films/Dead Media. We're headed, we still got a couple more East Coast shows, and then we're kind of heading into the Midwest. We're going to end up back home for the film in Minneapolis on August 18th at the Heights Theater. And then we bounce back to Los Angeles and do a screening in Long Beach. Then we can take a couple weeks off. And then we're going to go on another whole leg of the road show. So there's going to be more screenings added. So please, if you're a ForceCenter friend who is interested in checking it out, keep checking those listings to see if it's coming near you. And if you do come to a screening, please say hello. I love meeting ForceCenter friends out on the road.
There you go. Do that. That's it. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.